If the listener or reader has corns or bunions and doesn't want them stepped or tramped on, skip listening to or reading this story. If you are mentally smug and self-complacent, content to walk in granddaddy's boots or grandmammy's slippers, skip this story and go on to the next one. Herb Hendner, who is one of our most sincere and severest critics, has cautioned us many times to go as far and as deep as facts justify, but stay close to the chiropractic principle and practice. When we do, we win approbation. It is when we wander into bypaths, apply our ideas to other objects, we arouse antagonism, which reflects and rebounds and injures our presentations of chiropractic. Chiropractic goes deeper than treating backbones to stimulate or inhibit nerves, deeper than locating vertebral subluxations and adjusting them, deeper than locating specific cause of dis-ease and correcting that specific to get the sick people well, each being an empirical limitation of or border beyond which our differing groups refuse to go. Chiropractic goes deep enough to want to know what makes vertebrates tick, including the genus Homo, why, how, when, and where he ticks. For knowledge is power. Chiropractic has a new and a greater insight into human existence to present. If Herb Hendner knew we had written this talk and contemplated delivering it somewhere, sometime, and printing it in this book, we know he would strongly advise against doing so. He raises a fine point when he suggests we raise antagonism on contemporary subjects when it is unnecessary to make our chiropractic position clear. He contends when we wander into foreign fields, we increase resentment against the speaker, weaken our presentation, and add no strength. That this talk presents a conflict is obvious. That this conflict involves many different sides of man's thinking is obvious. That we could present only our one side of this conflict is also obvious. In doing so, however, we would adjust the cause of one dis-ease and permit other dis-eases to eat away the life of the patient. How can we present a conflict without presenting the conflict as applied to such conflict? This is one of my talks for Lyceum this year. It is long, too long for one session. Therefore, to this class, we are splitting it into two sessions. At Lyceum, we shall brief it. Here and now, we want to record the full talk. On first thinking, some of you will fully agree with its basic fundamental theme. Others will mildly disagree. Others may desire to violently disagree, thinking it attacks some of their convictions. Upon mature digestion, we are sure you will realize it fully agrees with every conviction all of you hold dear. Don't protest until you've thought it through. It will grow on you. It is bigger than you think. One vital question pertaining to our future, frequently raised by our sincere profession, is, why do chiropractors fail when they enter the field? This question should be modified. Why do some chiropractors and graduates fail when they enter the field? Those two questions state the negative. Let us restate in reverse, in the positive. Why do chiropractors succeed when they enter the field? Why do some graduates succeed when they enter the field? Every chiropractor is seeking success. Searching, he raises many criticisms sooner than later. We at the PSC, and the same is true of all schools, receive reams of criticisms as to what we do or do not, what we should or should not teach in our curriculum. Rarely do we get one word of constructive suggestion of how to correct the evils or what to do to better the situation. Anybody can get in the game of becoming a carping critic. What we all need is help. As one who has seen thousands of tyros come, enter school, graduate, enter practice, and succeed or fail, let us state some observations. Given two students matriculating same time, attending same classes, listening to same instructors, graduating same day, one fails and other succeeds. Where is the difference, other things being equal? It must be what two different men get out of it, what two different men put into it, or the difference each man pulls out from himself. All professions have failures. Ministry, law, medicine, engineering, teaching, chemistry, podiatry, osteopathy, chiropractic. No profession has 100% successes or 100% failures. The average of success or failure is no different or greater in one over another. It isn't the profession that fails, it's the one who professes to follow that profession. It is true that some professions possess more elements of successful objectives than others, such as medicine versus chiropractic. Some students think that by going to school, sitting in classrooms, reading words in books, memorizing words, sentences, paragraphs, prattling off answers to quizzes, writing exams, squeezing through state board, opening an office, hanging diploma on wall, buying shortcut courses here and there, hanging sign on door. Soon multitudes will flock to their offices, stampede inside, force them to take their money, bank it daily, and soon they can retire rich men with fame and fortune, the fruit of their idleness. None of this is true. We have known students who could and do pass every exam 100%, who fail in office practice. We have seen others flunk every exam and succeed in getting sick people well. No truer statement was ever made than get the idea, all else follows. We have seen thousands come here, sit in classrooms, hour after hour, day after day, month after month, and never get a smidgen stinking smell of any constructive idea of what chiropractic is. We have seen scores go from classrooms to cafeteria, play pinball machine with nothing else to do. We have seen them gather around tables, chew fat of nonsense until bell rings, then run to classroom to take another snooze in the back row or read a newspaper about the latest scandal. Time is a precious medium given to us to use, but many abuse all the time. They get up late, run for a cup of java, sneak into classroom just under timekeeper's wire, stare into vacant space with vacant look for 50 minutes until they can get another cup of java. Many have the concept that to cheat the teacher, cheat state boards, builds a ladder upon which they can climb to wealth and success. They have not gotten through their infantile minds that the only guy they are cheating is the guy that walks under their hat, if they can afford one. Many have the spurious theory that shorter hours, less labor, less they do when supervisor or foreman is not watching, makes an easy road to get to the top of the hill. Snitching, we believe, is the word. Success comes from hard work, long hours, being sincere, being honest with oneself, looking facts squarely and dealing with them frankly, being open in relations with fellow men, thinking 10 hours to percolate out one sane, sound, sensible idea in 10 minutes. After all, ideas are what constitutes the foundation upon which the superstructure of every success is built. We are often asked how we write ideas in speeches, lectures, or books. We don't write them. We build them. Every talk, lecture, or article has a theme idea around which all else follows. To think out that theme is labor. Takes hours of studying, investigating, researching. Once that has been reached, then comes the pleasure of wrapping it into proper, simple, intelligent words. And even this takes hours, perhaps days. Even as this is written now, written and rewritten, to logically get this theme thought into words which the reader may grasp. This recalls an experience we had once with Roth, the memory man. He has a course in memory training that sells for $100. We were being taught how to increase the length of our golf drive from 120 to 250 yards. Do this, don't do that, and so forth. Dozens of them, until we grew weary trying to remember which ones to do, which not to do. Finally, we said, to be a good golf player, one should take the Roth memory course. A little man sitting on a bench close by said, "Did I hear you mention the name of Roth? I'm Mr. Roth." We quit trying to memorize the do's and don'ts, sat down with Mr. Roth, and asked him, "What is the theme thought of your course, which you wrap up in thousands of words in your books and sell for $100? Give it to us in simple terms. We'll pay $100 for that theme, but we refuse to waste time reading books. Give us the idea, and we'll write our own words." His answer was what we expected. Put things, articles, ideas in motion. That was the theme of his course. Majority of students read books, memorize words, sentences, and paragraphs. They hold the theory that to store away, file, catalog, systematize, all words, every sentence, each paragraph, exactly as said in books, is the true path to wisdom. We never read a book. In every book, written or printed, there is a central idea around which are wrapped thousands of words. We scan, glance at, run over hundreds of pages to find that one sentence, paragraph, which contains the big idea which was the purpose of the book. Once we have that plot, from then on, words are verbiage and garbage and wasted time. We often liken the human mind in its desire to accumulate understanding as an endeavor to copy-tag others. What they said, we will say. What they thought, we will think. What they did, we will do. How they did it is the way we will do it, until their minds become cluttered, jammed, a mass of external complexities, having no internal originality of their own to absorb or reject. We often liken the human mind, in its desire to accept a new profession, as a mine. Embedded in every ton of ore is some zinc, copper, lead, silver, or gold. Hundreds of tons of ore are brought to surface at tremendous expense of machinery, money, and men, then refined, smelted to extract the few flakes of gold, silver, or few pounds of zinc, lead, or copper. For every ton of matter that costs money to the haul to the surface, there are a few ounces of material demanded and wanted and secured. Every mining engineer knows this. He struggles, strives, labors to produce more of what he wants from less he needs. He has learned the lesson that to get what he wants, he must throw away slag and dross and build a monumental dump of useless material to get the useful, valuable materials the world cries for, needs, and can use. The same is true with the human mind. It is a smelting plant with smelting process. The individual pours in ore by the ton, every hour, day, and week. He has the erroneous idea that the process of education is retaining every ton of ore, keeping all, piling it up, casting off none, retaining every particle, until he soon has a constipation and congestion of theories producing a constipation of thought. We have said over and over again that process of attaining wisdom is the gentle art of forgetting, casting off, throwing away, eliminating mental slag and dross. Let us put it another way. Every day, 3 times a day, each person takes in many pounds and much liquid by way of mouth. If process of retention is sound, how long do you suppose you could keep inside your body all you ate and drank? In 24 hours, you would bloat like a poisoned pup, body would become dropsical, you would burst and die of auto-intoxication. Innate has so designed our bodies that we are forced to urinate, defecate, perspire, and otherwise eliminate all slag and dross after innate has extracted the few drops of serum, the nutritional nuggets of human silver and gold needed to sustain life. The educated brain is no different. It absorbs theories, ideas, through the five senses in many people, seven in a few, horse and common, to retain and keep within the working portal of that brain all it absorbs by way of senses would produce a constipation of thinking, a mental auto-intoxication of thought. That's what happens to many students in school. They cram, holding on to every word, every lecture, until at time of needing an independent or original idea, they can't find it, because the few flakes of silver or gold are buried amongst tons of useless slag and ore. Dump pile is so huge, when they need an idea, they can't find it in the refuse pile stacked and stored away in their brains. The average student comes to chiropractic school with 20, 30, or 40 years of medical inculcation, saturation, vaccination, tincturated and swabbed with medicine in his medical and physical system. He is mentally and physically poisoned with it until his system can retain or secure no more. Immediately upon entering a chiropractic school, he is told all this useless slag should be carted to the dump. Now begins the great conflict. How much of the past can he keep? How much of the present can he accept? The battle of the centuries is on. He begins a process of life of ifs and buts and perhapses and maybes. He fights to cling to the much old and tries to accept some new. One violates and rapes the other. They disagree with each other. Can he retain 50, 60, 70, or 80% of the old? Can he accept and utilize 50, 40, 30, or 20% of the new? Can he blend one with and into the other? How much of that which is old, which has been pumped in, can he consistently throw away? How much of that which is now coming from outside, that is new, can he justly absorb? What is all this talk about drawing from within, and what does it all mean? These and more like them confuse his shallow thinking capacity. Certainly there is some good in what has gone before. Certainly the new of today can't be 100% right. Where is the dividing line? And so his mind wavers up and down the scale. Certainly germs cause some diseases. Certainly vertebral subluxations cause some diseases. Which ones? How many in each group? Certainly some drugs cure some diseases. Surely some adjustments are good for some ailments. Where does one begin and the other leave off? The student finds himself in the middle of a conflict that has baffled all minds for centuries until he solves that issue. Chiropractic is one simple idea. Vertebral subluxation causes dis-ease. All dis-ease. Every dis-ease. Not some, but all. Vertebral adjustment corrects the cause of dis-ease. All dis-ease. Every dis-ease. Not some, but all. That principle in practice is either right or wrong. If right, it is right all the way, 100%. If wrong, it is wrong all the way, 100%. How long will it take to reach that conclusion? That is the problem. Some students reach it in 30 days, others 6 months, others 4 years, others never reach it. Some accept what they hear on faith, relying upon future practice to prove or disprove their accuracy. Some deny every premise, believing nothing. Therein lies the percentage of successes or failures which our as well as all professions have to contend with. Standard education to seemingly qualify a chiropractor to be such, in the eyes of the public generally, or legislation and state boards in particular, is inanimate, didactic, classroom, anatomy, physiology, pathology, symptomatology, diagnosis, physiology, chemistry, dissection, and many other physical subjects with a little, if any, philosophy thrown in on the side, with technique of how to treat, manipulate, punch, or adjust backbones of sick people, to make him safe, to turn him loose upon an uneducated, unsuspecting, sick populace. Study of an abstract, innate intelligence within healthy or sick living bodies is so much excess baggage in all our chiropractic schools, with the exception of 2. These major book studies are of the corporeal, the material, the human body as builded, not the major studies of innate immaterial, the builder. One can know everything of the dead object and know nothing and be useless to get living sick people well. To know innate is to know the architect, the designer, the builder, and that is to know the objects built, even though unnecessary to know that to be of service. Therein again lies the percentage of successes or failures within our as well as all professions have to contend with. For example, one chiropractor, graduate of a well-known chiropractic college, which calls the study of innate occult, therefore refuses to teach any such, said to us recently, "B.J., why do we treat backbone only? Is it to stimulate and inhibit nerves?" That man is a failure before he opens an office. He doesn't know the answer to the first question. He has no answer as to why he does anything. A chiropractor doesn't treat anything. He adjusts cause of disease. Nerves are a substance. They cannot be stimulated or inhibited. If they could, we could work on corpses, for a dead man has as many nerves as a live one. It is a living mental impulse supply flowing into and through nerves. In living bodies, that is vital. This man is trying to live the duality of actions, a saint and a sinner, trying to live the life of an educated medico chiro, denying all of both every time he gives a treatment on backbones. It's a crazy world if you don't waken. Therein again lies the percentage of successes or failures which our as well as all professions have to contend with. We have said before, and we repeat, give us a student who has straight line thinking, and in 30 days we can make him into a simple chiropractor who can and will go forth and get more sick people well. than any physician, surgeon, or practitioner of any other so-called health profession. What we mean is that he has gone all the way in rejecting all the old, has gone all the way accepting all the new, knows the difference between right and wrong, between what innate can and does do inside and what medicine, pills, potions, and powders cannot do in or from the outside taken inside. Therein again lies the percentage of successes or failures which our as well as other professions have to contend with. It takes a long time and much training, in fact most of our time, to uneducate the average student more than it does to re-educate him. 80% of our time is spent scrubbing, washing, rinsing, soaking out yesterday. And 20% of our time is spent to get practical, workable ideas in. Some students go through this process quickly, others take months, some never reach that stage of development. Therein again lies the percentage of successes or failures which our as well as other professions have to contend with. Some quickly reject the old on faith of their teachers. Some accept the new on statements made by instructors. Some accept only as they see proof on actual cases. Others reject or accept nothing until they have pumped tons of ore through their mental smelters, separating the silver and gold from the dross. There are those who use logic, reason, facts, and research to prove to themselves what is right, what is wrong, rejecting all of one and accepting all of the other. Therein again lies the percentage of successes or failures. Smelting this mental ore through the human brain is work, hard labor. It takes hours, days, weeks, months, and years. Some hunt for a 100% pure nuggets and reject the ore. Others pick up ore containing gold, throw it away, because they don't recognize that which they seek. Others laboriously struggle to get a few flakes here and there to accumulate mental wealth. Some know they can't cheat anybody but themselves. Others think that by cheating everybody they are storing up much education that will be saleable and useful in later years. They go forth, try to use it, only to know when it's too late they are carrying around tons of useless slag, producing mental kyphosis with ankylosed ideas. It's a great game if you don't waken. Therein again lies another reason why the percentage of successes or failures exists. We have often likened securing knowledge and wisdom to the building of a mosaic. One gathers pebbles here and there, different shapes, sizes, and colors. They accumulate and are stored away, seemingly of no value, until someday a brilliant flash puts all into one definite form, creating a pattern of gorgeous painting on a wall in the brain. The successful thinker will often be found sitting in a yard, seemingly doing nothing, or may be found fishing off the end of a boat, or he may lie in bed gazing at ceiling or reading a whodunit. Seemingly he's wasting precious time. Not so. He is sifting 1,000 petty solutions to one major problem, until he finds the right, simple one which works best. His time is spent eliminating heavy mental urinations, thought defecations, learning how to get rid of slag, hunting for the few flakes of knowledge and wisdom of gold that remain which are useful. Therein again lies the percentage of successes or failures. The successful thinker reaches the realization that education pumped in from the outside is a false alarm, that education per se is a process of cramming, retaining, and overloading the bus that breaks it down on the highway of life. What successful man seeks is knowledge and wisdom. And there is a wide gulf of difference between that and education. Education is a crude assemblage of a mass of everything the human mind stores away, thinking there will be a future use for all of it. Knowledge is separation of silver from dross. Wisdom is refining process knowledge goes through, keeping less and less of education to gain more and more of knowledge and wisdom. Therein again lies a percentage of successes or failures. The wisdom seeker knows that innate knows the correct answers to all human questions. That innate long ago solved all human problems. That innate lives inside him. That innate is eager, ready, willing, anxious to tell education what is. And he needs, if he would listen to and accept that wee small voice that whispers what it alone knows and wants to tell. Here again is the age-old conflict. Education thinks education is everything. Education thinks education knows it all. Education thinks knowledge and wisdom which flows from innate is a count and bounce. Therefore, he places education on the pedestal and buries innate in mud. Therein again lies one of the many reasons for our percentage of failures and successes. Innate is simple. Education is complex. Innate is one. Education is so many, we get lost wading through the morasses of its mazes. The average educated mind cannot grasp the simple, innate solutions to complex educated problems. It throws 1,001 complex educated ideas to oppose one simple, innate idea and smothers it with a blanket of many wrongs against one right. When will chiropractic students learn this? Some can in 30 days, others in 6 months, some never. Those that never secure this understanding go forth with heads crammed full of education, using heads for hat racks, pass semester and state board exams with flying colors, secure a license, open an office, and fail. And they wonder why. This is another reason why we have failures in our profession. The average faculty of a chiropractic school is no different from the average student they educate. They are a sample cross-section of humanity. They are educated, therefore they pass on their education to educate students. Here and there is an exceptional instructor who has outgrown that concept. Instead of pumping in day after day, he aims to draw thought from within that student. Therein lies the percentage of successes or failures that our schools have to contend with. The average member of a chiropractic state board is no different from the average applicant for license. He is educated, therefore buys a quiz compendium on various physical subjects, picks out questions at random, throws these educated questions at the applicant, and grades answers according to whether they pony up to the educated answers in educated quiz compendiums. The majority of state board members could not pass another state board exam in another state. Here and there is a state board member who has outgrown that concept. He seeks to find what the applicant knows about chiropractic, whether he's competent as a chiropractor, asks chiropractic questions, and grades according to whether it is sound or unsound chiropractic. Sooner or later, he finds it an uphill job to draw out knowledge in questions and answers. Finally, he gives up in despair. So we find our field of practitioners boning up on kind of questions they know state boards ask. Our field is filled with many educated fool practitioners because of educated faculty instructors, educated school exams, educated state board exams, and educated licenses to practice an educated system of educated principles and practices called chiropractic. Then we wonder why we have failures in our profession, when the whole purpose and intent for all reasons for giving an adjustment is to draw forth from within the very innate that knows all, is all, performs all, and does all. Therein lies, again, a percentage of successes or failures. In all the criticisms of the field against what schools should or should not do or teach to produce successful chiropractors, there is one fundamental never touched upon by either. If a school taught what it should, and if a student absorbs what it should and what is taught, there will be more successes. If the school does not teach what it should, and the student labors long and hard to make something out of nothing, he will still be a failure. If the school does teach what it should, and the student does not absorb, we still have failures. Regardless, however, of what the school does or does not teach, or the student does or does not absorb, understanding of innate is not a subject the school can teach or the student can absorb from the exterior. It isn't something our education can give his education. It is an understanding the student alone can attain or give himself. All any school can do is to expose the student to his own internal grasping of what his innate means to him. We as teachers or as a school cannot give life to a tree, that innate which comes to a tree from within that tree. Why do some chiropractors succeed and others fail? We seek the taproot reason. There are superficial arguments we could present. Under those surfaces, there is a fundamental that overshadows all. We again present our theme of this talk as applied to our professional conventions. Some answers lay to pumping and priming professions of processes of differences between educated and innate thinkers at many so-called chiropractic conventions. Opportunists are, for the most part, if not entirely, educated sprinters doing their 100-yard dash treatments in 9 seconds flat, who run because of the medal at the end. We have too many of these. Marathon runners are, for the most part, if not entirely, innate people, regardless of time consumed. Run to keep the light burning from one end of the long road to the other. Our profession needs more of these. Opportunists think in terms of any kind of an educated treatment, the dollar tagged on, and of themselves today only. They want a diploma, whether earned or not, a license gained by cribbing, and the easy life they think goes with them. We have too many of these. Chiropractors are innate scholars. They think in terms of better men, for a better race, tomorrow, next year, a century hence. A diploma and a license are figments of imaginary imagination having little value as compared to what is in their heads and hearts and hands. Our profession needs many more of these. Opportunists exist in a groove, floating downstream, drifters, who trail a narrow path in the morning from home to office, in the afternoon from office to home. They live for themselves, their families, their homes only. We have too many of these. Chiropractors live in the great wide open spaces, have road outlook over all geography without boundaries or fences, observe, study, and serve all races, regardless of color, creed, or country. This type of innate person predominates and premeditates and looks upon destiny as their goal. They see billions of vertebral subluxations, each crying, pleading, begging to be adjusted. They see billions of insane made sane, millions of sick made well, millions of families, millions of sick made well, and millions of families and millions of unhappy homes they can make happy. They think in terms of a world of people. The world is my country, and to do good is my religion. Our profession needs many more of these. Educated opportunists are temporarily permitted on earth to sustain today's concepts, acting as devils on tomorrow's progress. They are actively anchoring progress from moving forward, upward and onward. They are found behind bars, passing out whiskey, gin, and rye, and other types of mixed mental drinks, which lulls into stupor thinking values of evolution. We have too many of these in action in our ranks. Innate chiropractors are angels of mercy. They are too often passive, resist not evil. If opportunists slap them down, they turn and take another biff on the chin. They are the type who sit in amen corners and pray protests against evils men do. They look with tears while gazing out the window at the burning of man's liberty set on fire by greedy opportunists. They admire the aggressive fighting qualities of other men who make history. This growth needs prodding into action. Opportunists think of how to educationally restrict the efforts of themselves and others. They cramp innate chiropractic service whenever and wherever possible, even to basic science bills to help medical men to that end. They handcuff and leg iron innate to a state stake, state board slavery, and state license reductions to make impossible more chiropractors. We have too many of these. Chiropractors think, knowingly or unknowingly, of the limited present small army of 20,000 or less, trying to open innate channels of communication to the sick. They see and hear the wails of 20 billion vertebral subluxations crying in the wilderness for succor. They think in terms of 100,000 chiropractors today and 200,000 tomorrow, even then leaving much work undone. Our profession needs many more of these. Opportunists are educated to think in terms of the few for the many. For how much, for how little? We have too many of these. Chiropractors let innate flow naturally, thereby rendering a service of the many, for mental exhilaration rewards of honest service, well rendered to those needing what he delivers. Our profession needs many more of these. Opportunists see a backbone to be punched and punished, some way, somehow, to a mere handful of innocent sick in his office. They live in an educationally constructed, constricted, and restricted shell of me and my wife, my son John and his wife, we four and no more. He makes his little pile, thinks his work is done, and retires satisfied. We have too many of these. Chiropractors live in a constantly expanding innate horizon, uniting with others of like thought to form a fighting phalanx, to push back impregnable horizons, to place a living light where before darkness existed. The farther he travels, the more he does, the greater opportunities for more work is ahead, and the steeper grows the mountain of deeds. His work is never done. There is no time to retire, for there is greater work ahead than has ever been done behind. Our profession needs many more of these. Opportunists form educated schools to teach, building educated therapists, popular educated shortcuts to an educated dead past of medicine. They are content to make a living wage today off of students who enter knowing no difference between education from without and innate from within. When day is done, their school goes dry rot when they die of inertia. Many such have come and gone, leaving their progeny as orphans. They hold little, if any, interest whether their graduates innately succeed or educationally fail with educated methods taught them. They hope they succeed, but many die a-borning. They lack innate vision, suffering with the nearness of their educated selves to their educations. We have too many of this type of school in our ranks. Chiropractors build a school on the incontrovertible and impregnable innate basis and foundation of logic, reason, facts, research, truth, and results. They teach today's unpopular, innate principles and practices that will be educated's vogue 100 years from now. They teach what they know about innate, caring little upon its effect upon financial returns, being concerned only if what they teach is in conformity with innate. They struggle and strive to innately instruct educated mossbacks a new innate truth to elevate mankind. They build an institution that by merit alone will perpetuate itself through ages to come. They are vitally concerned in giving students a new innate insight into their own lives from that new old innate source on how to succeed from within themselves, that they might give others the world over what mankind has sought for centuries, which is new and now revealed for the first time in history. Our profession needs many more of this kind of school. We can enlighten our profession, having seen and attended many of our conventions, what our far-sighted reactions are to the most of it. They remind us of a three-ring circus with high-stepping, educated high school automatons going through their automatic drill routines in one ring. A tightrope juggling naturopath chiropractor in the center ring, and a muscle manipulating chiropractor crapping whip on bears in the other. The sideshow of treatment freaks, monstrosities, pygmies, giants, snake charmers, and sleight-of-hand performers in the hallways. Clowns doing monkey shines weave back and forth everywhere. Perhaps over in the corner, almost obscured from sight, there may be a timid, innate chiropractor trying to get attention, secure an audience, win applause, when he proves to the audience that a verbal adjustment alone gets sick people well. A chiropractic state or provincial convention is composed mostly of, guided and manipulated by hand-picked political opportunists and some misdirected chiropractors who think hard, clamp jaws tight, sit on their hands, who are trying to sift a few grains of work to a successful answer why some succeed and others fail. A chiropractic convention is purportedly a gathering of divergent professional men and women educated to the nth degree for the seeming purpose of securing progressive development of the philosophy, science, and art. This is supposedly accomplished by inviting split groups of speakers into philosophy, X-ray, and technique from different schools of thought, bypassing unity of fundamental capacity and purpose. Each speaker contradicts the other two. Here and there, scattered amongst the many, are a few who try to keep the chiropractic ship of state on an even keel against big shots who whip up storms of professional protest and personal hatred and vituperative vengeance. A chiropractic convention listens to the great, the near great, and the non-great speakers. They gaze enraptured and amazed at preposterous claims made for demonstrators and demonstrations of techniques. They crowd close to see the little trick that turns all tides. The educated listener and observer laboriously tries to mentally sift through verbal and visual debris after hours of wasted time, parading through halls of external medication and treatment devices. They came mentally seeking right from wrong, but go home more twisted, professionally, financially, and legally. They educationally didn't know who was right and what was wrong, or why they came. They go home more mystified, each to his own, returns to his office, convinced chiropractic conventions are a grafting hodgepodge of lax and loose assemblages of conglomerate speakers, regretting wasted time and money from their offices, promising themselves they'll never come again. No wonder conventions go begging and are forced to enforce a 2-day registration to force attendance to get a renewal of a license. The average chiropractic convention is an educationally split program group, presenting split partisan group speakers, presenting warmed-over partisan hash fantasies. You go to this hall and listen to your pet peeve. I go to that hall and listen to somebody else's shortcut hobby. And perchance there might by accident be one speaker so bold as to speak on the heretic subject of specific, pure, and unadulterated 10-fingered chiropractic. He will probably draw the biggest crowd, attracting attendance like a magnet from all other halls where they were forced to adjourn for the want of an audience. We have had this happen many times. All chiropractors believe in the principle. Talk about it, advertise it, but when it comes to practice, they seek obsolete methods to obliterate it. The majority of invited chiropractic convention speakers have lost sight of chiropractic, lost in the convention shuffle, usually relegated to the dump by preference. Some speakers sample a local atmosphere in advance, find what the convention wants to hear, then gives them that, shifting their convictions, if any, from one convention, one state to another. Various speakers represent the schizophrenic split personalities, theories and techniques, such as medical chiropractic, manipulative chiropractic, bone-setting chiropractic, muscle-twisting chiropractic, naturopathic chiropractic, colonic irrigation chiropractic, vitamin pills chiropractic, ultraviolet ray chiropractic, sinusoidal chiropractic, injections chiropractic, hypodermic chiropractic, electric needle tonsil removing chiropractic, liver distension chiropractic, varicose vein treatment chiropractic, basic technique chiropractic, Merrick system chiropractic, specific chiropractic, ad infinitum ad nauseam.